Listening to an air show is probably one of the most exciting things that you can do with your scanner radio. For example, you could easily listen to something like this.
Right turn out. Memorial Day weekend and those who have gone before us to serve and sacrifice. Turn above. Easy more.
How exciting and cool would that be to listen to on your scanner radio? Whether you're at the air show or somewhere near the air show, I'm going to show you how to set up your scanner radio to listen to audio just like that on today's video. Let's get right to it. My name is Phil Lichtenberger, and I have been in the scanner radio hobby for over 40 years, and I absolutely love scanning when there's an air show in town. You see, listening to an air show is something that you can do with the most basic scanner usually. All you really have to have is a radio that can handle the MilAir spectrum. And if you're going out and listening to an air show that only has civilian X, well, then that opens up what you can listen to with a more basic scanner. On today's video, we're going to concentrate on listening to MilAir, or military aircraft, when it's part of an air show. And what we're going to do is break this down into several bite-sized topics. For example, the first thing we're going to look at is locating the air show information online and what resources that you can use to find out all the information that you need to know so you're prepared to go to the air show. The next thing we're going to look at is how to find out exactly who is performing at this air show, because you're going to need to know that in order to know what frequencies you have to program into your scanner radio. We're also going to break down which scanner radios are going to be right for the application to listen to these air shows. And finally, I am going to take you through how I program my scanner radio when I am setting things up for an air show. Now, before we get started, there are a couple of tips that I have for you. Now, obviously, scanning at the air show is going to be better than scanning out from a distance. Do you have to be at an air show to listen to it? No, but it certainly helps. And it's really great to have a scanner radio that has close call or a spectrum sweeper function on it, so that if you don't have the frequencies preloaded, you can find them on the fly. Now, yes, again, remote scanning is possible. You can be in your RV in the parking lot, or you can scan from home, which is what I do. Now, I love scanning from home. It allows me to sit back and relax in my scanner radio room, stay in the air conditioner, not battle a spot to bake in the sand for about 12 hours or so with 50,000 plus of my closest friends. But yes, everybody is different, and if you enjoy going there and seeing things live, this video will help you do that. Now, what we heard at the beginning of this video was recorded right here at home. So you have a lay of the land here. I live about 8.75 miles away from Air Show Center. That's about 14 kilometers. The airport that most of the acts fly out of and will call home for the duration of the air show is located about 2.8 miles away from me. That is roughly 4.6 kilometers. Now, taking in mind those distances and the audio you just heard at the beginning of this video, you can see that being about 8 miles or so still gives you plenty to listen to. Now, yes, I am using an outdoor antenna for this, but the closer you get to the air show or the airport, the better your reception will be with a handheld radio. Now, all of these chapters are broken down in the video, so you can go ahead and skip on the timeline if you want, so that you can find the exact chapter that you want to watch in this video. So let's look at where I go to find information about the air show. The first thing you're going to want to do is know who is the sponsor or the promoter of the air show. So the air show that's happening next weekend where I live, which is going to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States at Jones Beach, is sponsored by Fort Lee Federal Credit Union. And if I go to their website, I can see some basic information about the air show. So this page is important because you're going to want to know the dates that the air show is happening and also the times. And the About page here also shows us a little bit of information about where you can't go to watch this if you're out on a boat. It also shows you the air box for Airshow Center. So if you want to go and camp on the beach, you know exactly where you want to go. But here is where it gets to be very important. You're going to want to know how to find the performers for each air show you're going to be going to. So again, over here on the Four Leaf website, we have a basic idea of who is headlining and who will be performing during the air show. For example, we have the 106th Rescue Wing, New York Air National Guard. The United States Navy Blue Angels will be the headliners. The British Army Parachute Display Team, the Red Devils, are here, as well as the Golden Knights Parachute Team, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, the Royal Air Force Red Arrows, which is really cool, the Canadian Forces Snowbirds, and an air show act I have never seen before, the UAE National Aerobatic Team. We also have a few civilian acts, and I'm very surprised to see that certain civilian acts have not returned to the air show this year. And this could be just because the dates have changed. Normally, this air show is Memorial Day weekend, but this year, it's on the 4th of July weekend to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the United States. And again, by going to this website, it's important to know who will and will not be there. Another resource I have for you on this is airshowstuff.com. This website is community driven and has a lot of updates throughout the year on who is coming and who is canceling at the air show. To find this information out, we're going to go over to the forums, and then I'm going to scroll down to the 2026 Air Show Fly-ins, Exercises, Events, and Discussions. There's a mouthful. And again, this will change based on the year that you're watching this video. From here, I am going to scroll down to the event that is local to me that we'll be listening to, and that is the Four Leaf Air Show at Jones Beach 2026. The very first post on this was December 2nd, 2024. People love to get a head start on planning their air shows, even a year and a half in advance. We have 19 pages to digest here, but again, what I'm saying is this is a great information for almost real-time input, updates, cancellations, and changes to the air show. I mean, some of these, this one here goes 60 pages deep. These guys are committed to supplying information about air shows. So now that we know what the performers are, how do we find the frequencies to monitor them? The first and easiest way to do this is to go to Radio Reference. And I always like to start by going to the forums. So I'm going to go to Forums Home. I am going to scroll down to the Aviation Forum. And we're going to look for air show logs. Now, I like going here because you don't need to start looking at your local air show because that's not going to happen yet. What we're looking for are recent air shows, such as this Columbus Air Show from 2026, who somebody just posted about a week ago. These logs, or the list of frequencies that are on this forum post, are recent. They're confirmed. And this is what people were listening to or could have listened to while they were at the air show. And again, that's not the only one. We have others in here as well. And of course, people looking for help finding frequencies. Hopefully, they look at this video. And again, here's one that just happened over at Dayton, and it is followed up by a bunch of frequencies. So if you're looking for updated frequencies, take a look at the forums on Radio Reference. But while we're also at Radio Reference, let's take a look at the database. I'm going to show you where to find these frequencies in the Radio Reference database as well. So we're going to go ahead and click on Database. Then we're going to go and click on Browse. And now that I've got the map of the United States up, I am going to click on Nationwide Frequencies. For air shows, I'm going to scroll down to Events and click on Air Shows. And this will break out the frequencies that have been submitted to the Radio Reference database for different air show performers. And of course here, what I'm looking for are the United States Navy Blue Angels because they will be the headliners at this coming weekend's air show. What's also important to see is that they put an asterisk to indicate that this is a frequency in use for this current year. Now, if you were in Canada looking for frequencies, the process is just a little bit different. You're going to go back to the radar reference database. We're going to click on Browse. We are going to go up to Canada and click on Go. Then we're going to go into nationwide frequencies, and we're going to scroll down to military. And the only information in here for military is the snowbirds. One of my favorite ways to find frequencies for the air show, and has been for years, has been to go over to the Spectrum Monitor and pick up the issue that talks about air shows. That releases every March, and you can go ahead and buy just that particular issue, or you can subscribe for an entire year. And I guarantee you, once you read one issue, you'll be hooked and you'll want to purchase this for the entire year. Right now, as I'm recording this, one issue is $3 and a full year is $36. So let's take a look at this issue of the Spectrum Monitor so you can see what I look for when I'm reading through this issue to grab airshow information. All right, so I'm not going to show you the entire copy of the Spectrum Monitor because that wouldn't be right. But what I am going to show you really quickly is just what is included with this issue of the Spectrum Monitor. And the information about air shows starts early, right on page 7. And this will give us a rundown of an air show that the author has attended, as well as some frequencies and, of course, some pictures from the event. And if you love aviation, take a look at some of the photos that are in this issue. And I normally go through these copies, and I'm going to show you later exactly what I do to this, because this is something that I really enjoy and I get a kick out of. But right here is really the issue and the pages that I look forward to every single year. It's the annual Air Show Monitoring Guide. Now, you could go through this and look at it on the screen, and that's perfectly fine. But what I typically do every single year is I print myself out a hard copy. This allows me to go through it and actually highlight and look at anything that might be new or different, or I can also just highlight what is going to be frequencies that I need for my immediate area for the local air show. And just so you know, I did find some new information in these lists in this issue, newer than what I have. So if you're old school like me, you want to break out the highlighter, break out your pen, and start putting notes right into this. Because, again, I miss the days of magazine when I used to do this. And I used to do this in Monitoring Times and Popcom magazines as well. So to print this out takes me right back to when I started doing this. So now that we know what frequencies we have to put into our scanners, let's talk about how to pick the right scanner radio for an air show. Now, we're going to go through several scanner radios here. They all support military air and civilian air frequencies. We're going to put links to all of these radios in the description of this video. Some of these links may be affiliate links, and what that means is if you click on them to make a purchase, you'll be helping to support this channel. We will earn a small commission or affiliate fee for the referral. We'll also put some links to software so you can program up these radios as well. Some of these will be affiliate links and some of these will not. So let's talk about what scanners you may want to take with you to the next air show. The first scanner radio is a basic entry-level scanner radio. It's the Uniden BC 125AT. It supports 500 memory channels. I love this radio because it supports alpha tags. It is super easy to use and to program, and it has enough frequency ranges to cover a majority of the spectrum we need, but the MilAir tops out at 380 megahertz. So if you don't need the extreme north end of the MilAir spectrum, this will be a great radio to get you to the air show. An upgrade from here is the Uniden BCD 160DN. This gives you 1,000 memory channels. It also supports alpha tags, but it adds conventional DMR and NXDN. It does not support P25 or trunking. And this radio covers the entire MilAir spectrum. An upgrade from here is the Uniden BCD 325P2. This holds 25,000 memory locations. They call them locations because every little bit of information that you put into this takes up a memory location. It supports alpha tags. It also does P25 Phase 2 trunking and can be upgraded at additional cost to support NXDN and DMR. The frequency ranges will also cover the entire MilAir spectrum if that is what you are interested in monitoring. And finally, from Uniden, the Home Patrol series and the SDS series. We're specifically talking about the 436, 536, SDS 100, SDS 200, and the SDS 150 here. And maybe anything else that comes out in the future that starts with an SDS. These all support alpha tagging. They all support being programmed from the radio reference database at no additional cost. And they all support the MilAir spectrum. If you'd rather go Whistler, you can look at the WS1040. This supports 1,800 objects per V scanner and has multiple virtual scanners built into this radio, so you can configure this radio multiple different ways. This one also supports alpha tagging. It does support P25 Phase 1 trunking, and it will cover the MilAir spectrum. And finally, we have the Whistler TRX-1. This one also supports being programmed by software that connects directly to the radio reference database at no additional charge. Everything is stored on an SD card. Again, supports alpha tagging, and it does support Phase 2 P25 trunking and will support the MilAir spectrum. So let's go through how I am going to program my scanner radio for the airshow. But before we do that, if you're getting value out of this video and you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and take a moment to go ahead and click on the subscribe button. Or if you're already subscribed or you don't want to subscribe, and if you find the information helpful, please give this video a like. This will help YouTube understand the kinds of videos that you are interested in and will recommend videos like this to you in your feed. Now, if you're watching this on the comfort of your couch on a TV, go ahead and open up your camera on your smartphone and point it at that QR code, and that will take you right to our YouTube page where you can go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And I also want to thank our Patreon supporters. Our Patreon supporters help me create content just like this. If you want to help support us on Patreon, and there's 7 different membership tiers, you can go ahead and go to scannerschool.com/Patreon, click the link in the description of this video, or again, if you're watching this on your television, you can go ahead and point your camera right at that QR code on the screen right now, and that'll take you to our Patreon page. So now that we have a lot of information at our disposal, we have a paper copy, maybe, of the airshow frequencies. We have websites that we can refer to. How do I take all this data and keep it organized? Well, the truth is, many years ago, I started a Excel spreadsheet. And now I've ported it over to a Google Sheet. So let's go ahead and take a look at that sheet. So for example, we have up right now the Royal Canadian Air Force Snowbirds. These are the frequencies that I have been keeping track of through the years of my airshow monitoring. Now you don't see them highlighted here, but I definitely added some new frequencies this year based off of the list that I have. And I've also added 2 frequencies to the Blue Angels. These frequencies weren't on my list either. So I'm definitely going to have to make sure that when I go to update my scanner radio, that I also add these. So what scanner radio am I going to be using for the airshow? Well, my favorite scanner radio to take is a BCD 436 HP. I like that radio because it supplies me with a lot of information directly on the screen. But if I'm listening from home, my workhorse is my BCD 536 HP. And this is the radio that I am going to program up today using Sentinel software. I like the 536 HP over other radios because of the long display, which allows me to see more of the information at one time. And it also has a Wi-Fi adapter on it, so I can easily connect it to my network so that I can collect the audio and watch this on ProScan. So let's take a look at Sentinel and look at how I'm going to program up this radio. Now, I've been doing this for several years, so I already have profiles set up on setting up this radio. If I go into my favorites list, you will see that I have got a lot of favorites here. But what we're looking for is the New York Jones Beach Air Show. And every year I used to keep a new favorites list for the event. But recently I've gotten a little lazy and I just created one list for civilians and one list for military that I can turn off and on and update as needed. So for example, if I come in here and I click on the military, I am going to program this favorites list because there's some things in here that I need to start toggling off and on. Primarily, if I come in here, I'll know that the Thunderbirds aren't flying at the local air show. So I need to set them to avoid. The Blue Angels will be here. So I want to make sure that I'm able to hear them. So I am going to disable the avoid there. I'm also going to avoid the demo and the lightning. And then we'll close out of here and we will hit yes to save. Another thing to notice though is I don't have the snowbirds here. So let's go ahead and add those. And one of the reasons why I really like having a Sentinel scanner for this is because I can just come right here into the radio reference database and pull in the information. Now, because this is a nationwide setup, it doesn't matter what state or county I go to get the information. So I am just going to come in here and go into air shows. I am going to right click on the Canadian Air Force Snowbirds. I am going to append it to a favorites list. And I am going to pick my existing favorites list that I have set up for the air show. And now when I click on my favorites list, I now have Air Shows USA and military. So I know I've brought it in because the naming is a little bit different. I can live with that for now. I may clean it up later. But what if what you wanted to update wasn't in the radio reference database? For example, I still need to clean up the Blue Angels. So I'm going to go into Program Favorites List. I'm going to go into Blue Angels, and I am going to add those two frequencies that were missing. I simply do that by clicking on the green plus button. That will add a new row. And because I'm actually doing this on two different computers, I'm going to type this in manually instead of doing a copy and paste. And this one was called Extra. And the frequency was 264.55. I want to make sure that this is set to AM. And then the next frequency is going to be another air refueling. And that is 349.400. And again, I want to make sure I've set that up to AM. We'll close out this window. That will save the favorites list. And another thing that I want to bring into is I kind of want a heads up of when the planes are coming into the airspace here. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to USA. I am going to go to New York. And again, it doesn't matter what county I go to because I'm going to look at the statewide systems here. And I am going to bring in the TRACON. And I'm going to start bringing in some of the military use frequencies. We're going to append the favorites list. We'll drop this into just air frequencies on this one. And I'll repeat the process for the other airports here. Now, we've already brought in some frequencies for the military, but we also need to think a little bit outside the box as to what it is that's happening locally. So, for example, if we look at this favorites list, we'll see that I put in the local airport that a majority of the performers will call home. So I've added the frequencies that are available on radio reference for this local airport. I've also added some key frequencies, such as the Air Boss and the PA system. So if I were to go actually to the air show, I would have this information handy. I also have a list of civilian performers, and what I've done already over the years is I have locked out the frequencies that were not in use. These were frequencies that were on frequency lists, but they are used locally here for other uses. So instead of going through this every single year and having to repeat the same exercise, I already have them locked out. And this is why I keep using the same favorites list now year over year over year. One thing I also like to remember is that there's a local fire department that operates on standby at the air show. So what I've done here is I've made sure that that fire department is in my scan list. Now, thinking about it now, I also may want to have some New York State parks and maybe even state police in this favorites list. And I can just go ahead the same way I've been doing it and keep adding those frequencies to my favorites list. When everything is all said and done here, I'm going to go up to scanner and I am going to write to the scanner. It has been a while since I've written to this SD card, but we're just going to go ahead and erase the favorites list on the scanner so I don't have to keep answering yes or overwrite for every favorites list. And I'm going to click on OK. This is also going to clear out all the information on this SD card because the profile that I've loaded for the air show only has the air show favorites list on it. This profile that I've set up wipes out all of my typical scanning information on this scanner so that I'm not fumbling through favorites lists when I am trying to make changes on the fly. No pun intended. So at this point, we now have a scanner radio that we could take with us to the air show, or we could just do like I'm going to do. We'll sit either out in the yard or down here in the basement in my radio room and enjoy the air show from here. Now, I usually do take this a step further when I'm monitoring from home. I will stream this information to my website. I will also partner up with a couple of other websites, and I'll send a live feed of this to my YouTube channel. I do this with different overlays from the scanner and some ADSB software. Now, if you want to see how I set all of this up and stream it to my YouTube channel, this will be a video that is exclusively available to my extra credit or higher Patreon supporters. And this will be the first video that I'm making available to my brand new YouTube membership area on my channel. So if you want to catch that video, make sure you subscribe to us either on Patreon or over on YouTube in the membership area. And again, a link to that will be in the description of the video. So there you have it. You now have a scanner radio that you can enjoy and take with you, and will give you a sneak peek as to what is happening in the action. Because I know from experiences, some of the military acts like to come flying in from behind you, and it really does give you that heads up that something is coming your way. It's also very interesting just to hear the communications between the pilots as they are going through several difficult maneuvers. The timing and the coordination can be heard right on your scanner radio. So again, don't forget, the secrets are in the searches. Go out there and scan something different. Hit that search button in your scanner radio and discover something new to monitor today. My name is Phil from Scanner School, and if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave me a comment and let me know what you thought about this video. We'll catch you on the next one. 73.